We all have to eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
And welcome once again to The Food Show. Good to have you alongside here on another Sunday afternoon. And we're about midway through, I guess, that cold, blustery month of February. And that certainly is the case today, as we've awakened to a little bit more of a winter wonderland out there. And there's some good blustery snow falling over the day. Temperatures have dropped again, but I understand they're on the rise. But enjoy. It's winter, and we need the snow on the ground to cover up the fields for our farmers to have some moisture in their fields when spring eventually does wend its way around to us. Excited for this show today. We've got a number of people that we're going to be talking to on the phone, a couple of events that are coming up that people can take part in and enjoy. And I want to say hello to Matt. He's our man in the studio here. Welcome back, Matt.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, how are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah, have you got any food news you want to tell us about? Nothing happened in your food world? You don't try any new food or anything?
I went to the Mandarin last night.
Oh, did you? The Mandarin.
That was pretty delicious.
Yeah. And you really sort of grazed through their vast troughs of food?
Yeah, well, you have to go to the dessert first and then
you go to the dessert
work
first.
your way back. That's
an interesting dining strategy.
Yeah.
Maybe you can update us on that a little later. Tell us a little more of the details. That's Matt. He runs the show in the background, making sure all the buttons are pushed properly because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to that. And as well, we want to say hello to our TV guys. Jordan's in the back of the building here, and he's putting us up on the 570 News webcast. If you go to 570news.com, you'll see a little button there, and you can press the webcast, and you can see what's happening here in the studio if you want to watch online as well. And to give you a little idea what's happening here, we're having Bob Bloomer. Will be on the phone in our next segment. He's the former Surreal Gourmet and Glutton for Punishment, very popular personality and food guy from the Food Network. Certainly well known. We see him in various TV commercials, and his two shows have done remarkably well. And he's sort of carved out a really interesting niche for himself as the Glutton for Punishment. He'll be joining us on the line to tell us a little bit about bagels and some of the work he's doing with bagels. And as well, we'll catch up with him a little bit and see what he's up to these days after the Surreal Gourmet and Glutton for Punishment programmings. We should also point out to you too that kind of an interesting event. Here we go. It's Love at First Bite with the chefs from Bolero Restaurant. If you're familiar with the market, the Kitchener Market, they have a number of chefs and restaurant little stands, I guess, food stands upstairs. And the chefs from Bolero are putting together a Valentine's Day program, I guess, for your cooking program. Matt, do you have Valentine's Day needs? Do you have someone that you have to buy roses for or something like that? Oh, Matt, that's really sad.
I don't. I know. It saves the bank account.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Bit, but,
well, you can treat yourself then.
Exactly. I will do that.
Well, if you're looking for an opportunity to bring a loved one to the Kitchener Marketplace, you can do that with the Chefs of Bolero. You and your partner will heat up the marketplace as you learn cooking techniques and work together to prepare dinner. After the cooking and chopping is over, guests will savor the fruits of their labor. That's on Tuesday, February 14th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at the marketplace, which is at the Kitchener Market. What is that? EB and King Street, I believe. It costs $99 per couple. Dinner and wine is included. And if you want more information, register online at kitchenermarket.ca/events. And you can find out more about Love at First Bite. Sounds kind of like fun. But I get the impression, Matt, you don't do a lot of cooking.
Well, I'm still trying to master the art of craft dinner.
Are you? Okay. Well, you can do some wonderful things with craft dinner, I mean, you can get really inventive and creative, and you can start dumping other stuff in there. And it's that's a good way to start, actually, because they got the set powder that you need to mix with milk or whatever.
And it seems like they tell you what to do, but every time you do exactly what they say, it's too milky and it's not as...
Well, have you thought about putting less milk in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
I actually know somebody who I'm not sure whether they read the instructions, but what they thought was that you just take the macaroni, dump it into a pot, add the powder, the cheese powder, the lurid orange neon cheese powder, and then turn the heat up and no fluid. So it just about burned the house down, and that pasta protein or whatever, and the cheese and milk protein that was in the powder just scorched, and it almost ruined the whole house. Like they had to bring in like a what do you call those people that come in and like after a disaster? They had to clean and sterilize and steam the whole house to get this acrid smoke smell.
Thankfully, I've never done that.
So be careful.
Yeah, really.
That can be some dangerous stuff.
There's your tip for the day.
That's your tip for the day. Yeah. Well, did you know that this is also National Plum Pudding Day? It is. February 12th is National Plum Pudding Day. And it's also the saint's day of St. Julian the Hospitaller, or Hospitalier. He's the patron saint of travelers and innkeepers. So who knew? I never would have figured that out.
I've never tried plum pudding, actually.
No?
No. Is it good?
Yeah, I've had plum pudding.
Yeah.
It's mostly, I always sort of associate it with around Christmas time and not at this time of the year. But this is National Plum Pudding Day. A very old recipe. Now, here's something else that's very, very old. I bet you didn't know this, that in 1791, on this day in 1791, a gentleman by the name of Peter Cooper was born. He was an American inventor and founder of what was called the Cooper Union for the Advancements of Science and Art. Well, that doesn't sound like it's all that interesting. However, he also obtained the first American patent for the manufacture of gelatin. Do you have any idea where this is going?
I'm beyond confused.
Then in 1895, a cough syrup manufacturer purchased the patent and developed a packaged gelatin dessert. And guess what that became? Jell-O.
Wow.
There you go.
Jell-O's delicious.
Jell-O
Jell-O
is that old. Back to 1895 is when this whole thing started. So there you go. That sort of fills you in on today's food history notes. We're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up as well. Let's see. I wanted to make sure that I told you about the February Potato Blitz again, just to remind you that on February 24th, that's a Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, there's going to be a free will offering lunch. Means I think you pay as you can there. And it will be in support of the House of Friendship. And it's an important organization that uses, get this, Matt, 200,000 pounds of potatoes every year in its 19 programs, helping to feed those people who have difficulty feeding themselves. So you can help meet this need by giving cash or bringing potatoes and participating in this community potato lunch that's happening. They're going to have a thing called a soup idol. So there's going to be, I think, potato soup challenge, and there's going to be a competition, and they're going to decide a winner, and I think money will go
awesome,
toward to House of Friendship, which is the emergency food hamper program. It's located on Guelph Street in Kitchener and the Charles Street men's hostel. Also for our good friends at House of Friendship. So support those groups, and you can get more information by going to houseoffriendship.org. You know, you can do a lot of things with potatoes too, Matt, just like craft dinner. You can really vary potatoes and, mash them, bake them, all kinds of great sauces and stuff.
I'll have to look into that.
You'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I want you to look into now is taking a call for us because, and I'm going to get Jordan in the back there to take a look at this book here. We have Canadian Living's One Dish Collection. It's a great book that's published by, obviously, the Canadian Living people. And they have a great test kitchen there. I hope, Jordan, you can pick this up on our cameras here. Sometimes dinner just needs to be simple and comforting, and this collection brings together some of the best all-in-one dinners. Now, this is what you need, I think, Matt. If you weren't part of this program, you could phone in because you need this one-pot dinner thing that'll move you away from craft dinner mediocrity and into some really legitimate one-pot dinners. Okay?
So it's easy instructions?
It's easy instructions,
Perfect.
Matt. It's very easy.
That's my book.
It's very easy instructions.
Perfect.
Yeah. And it's guaranteed to please and to come out perfectly. These dinners unite protein, starch, and vegetables. Those are the three main things you want to find in your food on just about every plate into one serving. Whether you're looking for a hearty stew or soup, a comfortable casserole, a filling salad, or a homey skillet or pasta supper, there's something in here for you. It's time to dig into satisfying comfort food with the Canadian Living Style one-dish collection. Now, the winner of this book will be our third caller, Matt, and the question that they have to answer, Matt, and we'll put them on the air for this one. We'll really test them, is one of the dishes they call for here is gemelli pasta. Gemelli pasta. And I want you to tell me what gemelli is, what it means. And the third caller to call in with that will win the book. And but make sure you tell them to stay on the line because they got to get all the details.
I wouldn't win the book.
They have to, they have to have you wouldn't get that.
I have no clue what it is.
Third caller to answer the question, what is gemelli? It's a pasta, but what does gemelli mean? So give me some kind of description of what that pasta is, and therein lies the answer. And when we get that third caller, we'll put them on the air, okay, Matt, and we'll find out who's going to take home this great book. You have to come pick it up at the studio, I believe, too. So, and I think there's another skill testing question, which is a really easy math question. What else have we got going on here? Well, it's kind of interesting because we have here, just trying to find all my information, and it seems to have eluded me. Oh, yeah. That's right. This is a significant day because this is Food Freedom Day. This is the day the average Canadian will have earned enough disposable income to pay for their food for the rest of the year. So when you've gotten to this point, you've earned enough money, and that pays for your food for the end of the year. Ron Bonnet, president of the Canadian Federation of Agriculture, explains that they started celebrating Food Freedom Day to raise awareness about how improvements in food production have allowed Canadians to spend their money elsewhere. We decided to do some work on what consumers are spending on, not only food in grocery stores, but restaurant meals as well. By the early part of February, the whole cost has been covered. That's not just the cost of paying the farmer. That's the cost incurred with transportation, distribution, retail, and everything. The study found that Canadians spend 11.8% of their disposable income on food. That's not a lot. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, Matt, from the craft dinner perspective, but that's not a lot of money, I don't believe. And it comes to something like $3,500 or $4,000 a year, which to my thinking, and that includes tobacco apparently. They've averaged all this in. That to me is not a lot of money at all. I mean, I spend $300 a week, I think, on food and groceries and whatnot. So it's interesting that this marks the day. So just be aware. I think it's good. You can get more information if you go to the CFA -fca.ca, and that'll give you a little bit of information about the Canadian Federation of Agriculture, and you can learn more about Food Freedom Day and what it means and how much it costs and maybe how much it should cost in reality as well. We need to take a break now, so let's do that because we're going to come back and we're going to talk to the former Surreal Gourmet and glutton for punishment. Bob Bloomer will join us on the line in just a minute. Stay with us, though. This is 570 News.
This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino. To call Andrew, 519-570-2545. By cell, star 570. Or toll free, 1-800-570-5715. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
And welcome back once again. This is the second segment of the Food Show. Now, we are trying to get a hold of our friend Bob Bloomer. And how's that going, Matt? Where are we standing with that?
Not so good. I'll keep trying, though.
Keep trying, okay. But we need to know from you, if anybody's interested in the Canadian Living One Dish Collection. It's a great book that has, let me just go over some of the things. We need the third caller to call in and talk to us and tell us a little bit about what gemelli is. And we have great recipes that have to do from soups, stews, salads, casseroles, and bakes, skillets, simmers. A simmer is an interesting cooking technique, I guess, and stir fries, pasta and risotto as well. I'm just going to look up what a simmer is as an example for you. So a third caller looking for the term gemelli, what it means. Yeah, let's see if I can find it. There's a skillet strata. I guess it's just something you I don't see anything particularly called a simmer. But it must just be something that you cook over a very low basic heat. And as Matt's trying to get a hold of Bob Bloomer here, I will tell you, though, some more interesting dates for food history. In 1872, Silas Noble and James P. Cooley of Massachusetts patented a toothpick-making machine. And I didn't know toothpicks were that old. I've always thought of them sort of whittling down a toothpick into this little piece of wood into this little stick, but there's actually a machine that makes it, patented in 1872. We have Bob on the online. That's great. Well, I just want to, picking up on where we left off, the disposable income per capita for Canadians was $30,000 in 2011. Expenditures on food, beverages, and tobacco were approximately $3,500, which again, to me seems like an awful little. But anyway, Food Freedom Day February 12th. There you go. Now, culinary adventurer Bob Bloomer is the host and creator of the award-winning television series Surreal Gourmet and Glutton for Punishment. He is recognized for his innovative and just plain fun food shows. The Surreal Gourmet, if you must know, won 2 Gemini Awards. It ran for 5 seasons and is still seen in more than 25 countries. And it's just a fun show to watch. Bob Bloomer joins me on the line. Hello, Bob.
Andrew, how are you?
Good to have you here again. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
And we're calling you from Toronto, is that correct?
Yes, you are. I'm in snowy Toronto right now.
It's kind of a cold day, and you're more used to, I think, the warmer southern climes, aren't you?
Well, I was born and raised in Montreal, and I lived here for a long time, and went to school in London. So, no, I'm accustomed to this corridor of cold.
Well, you're warming things up a little bit, I think, with some new work you're doing with the Dempster's Bagel folks. Canadians apparently love bagels.
Dempster's discovered that 6 out of 10 Canadians eat bagels on a regular basis. It's not surprising. I mean, people think of Canadians and they think of Montreal bagels. They think of all sorts of bagels. And the nice folks at Dempster's have just rolled out a brand new bagel recipe with 7 different varieties. And they came to me and asked me if I would create 4 different toppings, one for each of the different types of bagel lovers that they determine through their bagel barometer. And I'm sure you have a bagel barometer where you are.
Right, of course.
So I created all these different recipes inspired by some of my travels and some of my adventures with Glutton for Punishment. I created, I took all the toppings that you love to have on an apple pie and I put them on a bagel with some sharp cheddar cheese. I took some flavors I've discovered in Vietnam and in Thailand, and I created a banh mi bagel and all sorts of fun things. You can find all my recipes at facebook.com/Dempsters.
In those travels, where do Canadians sit? I mean, you've got some facts here about bagels in the Canadian population, and Ontario, for instance, is I guess the number 1 bagel-loving province in the country. But where does Canada sit on the world bagel scale? Are we big bagel eaters?
Andrew, I think that research is yet to be done. Though anecdotally, even though bagels were created in Europe, I mean, if you track them back a couple of hundred years, I think they came out of Eastern Europe. But from my travels, just anecdotally, it's really more of a North American thing. Mm-hmm. You don't really see bagels outside of North America.
Yeah, I guess in the Middle East there'd be something similar. I guess like there is a flatbread for just about every country. There must be some sort of similar bread item that has a little hole in the middle.
Whether intentional or unintentional.
Oh, well, that's right. Yeah,
that's probably how it all got started, right? There's a bubble in the middle of the piece of bread. Throw it out. No, wait. Hold on to it. That looks great.
We can use that for something. Well, tell me, I'm interested in the banh mi. We have a little Siamese submarine shop here in downtown Kitchener, and they serve some great banh mi. Tell us about the banh mi bagel, what you've put on that, how it developed, and what kind of flavors that are there.
Sure. Well, I just had the good fortune of doing a big event in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, and so I was there for a few extra days, and I was just walking around the city, and they sell banh mi's on the street there, and I fell into this tiny little street-side stall where they had the most delicious banh mi, and what they do is they just take the French controlled Vietnam for a long time, right. And so they have a lot of French influence. So even though you think of Vietnam and Vietnamese cuisine, they start their banh mi with a beautiful, fresh, crispy French baguette, and they slice that open. They smear some pâté on it, and then they top it with some lightly pickled vegetables. So that was I took the vegetable part of that sandwich, and then so I use some sliced cabbage and carrots and a little bit of fresh mint. And then from the Thai side, I started with some peanut butter. Imagine, just take a bowl, throw in like a cup of peanut butter, and then grate some fresh ginger, some fresh coconut, add a little bit of chili pepper flake, and squeeze in some lime juice, like 1 lime. And you just mix that all up with a spoon, and like 30 seconds later, you have a Thai peanut butter schmear. And so one of the types of bagel personalities that Dempster discovered through their bagel bagel barometer. It just kills me when I say bagel barometer. But anyways, one of the types of people they determined are what they call energizers, people who like to jumpstart their day with a bagel and have it fuel them all the way to lunch. So imagine just smearing a whole whack of this Thai peanut butter smear on your bagel, and then you top it with some freshly grated carrot and all the rest of the cabbage and a little bit of mint. You make that into a sandwich, toast up your bagel, and you're good to go.
That sounds great. Now, you've stated here that pickling you see as a new, or you've discovered, I guess, or
pickling's the new black.
New black.
I
okay.
mean, to the point where I don't really watch television, although I have to admit I just bought my first television of my life, so now I can no longer say I don't have a television. But
Wow.
there's a television show called Portlandia.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And they sort of skew, they're making fun of the hipsters in Portland, who could also be the hipsters in Brooklyn, who could also be the hipsters in Toronto, whatever.
Yeah.
And they did this skit called Just Pickle It. And it really, when Portlandia is doing a skit about something like pickling, you know that it's like the latest, greatest thing. So there's two basic ways to pickle. One is with vinegar and salt, and you do that overnight with any kind of vegetable you want. But the quicker, faster, simpler way is just to slice up something like a cucumber, sprinkle it with a bit of salt, like a half a teaspoon of salt. So 1 or 2 cucumbers, a half a teaspoon of salt in the bowl, and you just toss it around for about 5 minutes. The salt pulls the liquids out of the cucumber and forms what's essentially a natural brine. And like another 5 minutes later, the cucumbers get nice and crispy and crunchy. And that's instant pickling.
That's a great idea.
Throw that on a bagel, and then I just take some cream cheese, use a little bit of orange zest. And you know what I love about orange zest is that it's I've been listening to you talking, even though you couldn't find me. I've been listening to you for the last 20 minutes. Talking about budgets and stuff like that, food budgets. Zest is free. Zest has so much flavor: lemon zest, lime zest, orange zest, and it's free because after you finish zesting your orange and using that zest to kick up the flavor of your cream cheese, you still have the rest of the orange to eat as you would have had you thrown the peel out.
Yeah, it's often unregarded ingredient, isn't it?
Yeah, and so full of huge amounts of flavor, and it's the beautiful sort of natural oils in the peel, the very, very outer part of the peel, just that thin layer of orange or yellow or green. So take some orange zest, a little freshly ground black pepper, and some freshly chopped up dill, and whip that together with half a cup of cream cheese, and all of a sudden you have a really zesty, lively cream cheese. And put a few of those instant pickles on top, and
wow,
and that's for the purist.
That's the purist. That's what they're called according to the Bagel Barometer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm speaking, of course, with culinary adventurer Bob Bloomer. You'll know him as the Surreal Gourmet and the Glutton for Punishment. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You've already shown your cards. You're from Montreal. In the bagel debate, leaving the barometer aside for the moment, in the bagel debate, we've got New York bagels and we've got Montreal bagels. Can you pick one or the other?
Well, listen, Montreal bagels, there's no question about this. For me, Montreal bagels are mother's milk to me. I grew up on them. They are what a bagel is to me. Now, that said, it's a little bit, going back to the fruit discussion, Montreal and New York bagels are apples and oranges. And I totally appreciate a great New York bagel, but given the choice of the two, I would always go for the Montreal bagel.
Is it, would you say, like a little denser, a little bit, the crust obviously is, or the outside is a little bit different. There's a fluffier, sort of breadier aspect to the New York bagel?
Yes, they're usually, you're right, they're larger. They don't have that sweetness that the Montreal bagels have because the Montreal bagels are boiled in honey water.
Yeah.
And the New York bagels aren't always cooked in a wood fire oven. So there are various little things that make all the difference. Also, I had the good fortune of doing an episode of Glutton for Punishment at a Montreal bagel bakery, St. Viator Bagel Bakery, and I saw what they put into their bread mixture, and they use brewer's yeast and all sorts of things that I'm sure don't go into a New York bagel. So that's what creates the difference. But I'm still a happy camper with a fresh New York bagel, a fresh Montreal bagel, and honestly, with these spreads that I've created, when you put them on one of these Dempster's bagels, that you often the bagel is just part of the story, and with these spreads and these bagels, I promise you'll be a happy camper.
Okay. Well, we've got the lowdown on the bagels through the bagel barometer, thanks to Dempster's, of course. And let's leave that behind and just talk about your newest book, Glutton for Pleasure. It came out in October. What's it about?
It's actually a best of all of my previous 5 books, but I sort of took a new kick at the can, and I looked at everything that I've done over the last 20 years that I've been the Surreal Gourmet and Glutton for Punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I retested all the recipes, rewrote them, wrote about the experiences I had with them, and put it all together with some of my favorite adventures, like picking grapes at the most legendary winery in Burgundy, and I accidentally set someone on fire in Australia, but on live television. But as it turned out, I was punked before punking was even invented. So it was a real pleasure to put the book together. And I might add, have a brand new show starting on April 4th on the Food Network. It's called The World's Weirdest Restaurants.
Hey.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just crazy restaurants like an izakaya just outside of Tokyo where monkeys bring you your beer, a pop-up restaurant in New York City where the diners are naked. And
pop-up, is that some kind of a salacious pun?
No, not at all. It's just once a month.
Yes, okay, right.
A restaurant somewhere, and a restaurant in Taiwan called Modern Toilet, where all the food is served in miniature porcelain toilet bowls. So we went to 52 of these wacky and wonderful restaurants all around the world, and every episode has 4 crazy restaurants in them.
So these are your experiences? You go in, try
it out?
Oh yeah,
I'm sort of your tour guide.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll look forward to that. It sounds like it's a fun show. I don't think that's been done before, for sure. Like the bagel barometer.
Just trying to push the envelope.
All right. Bob, I want to thank you very much for taking some time out and telling us about the Dempster's Bagel Barometer. And also, we're very pleased to hear about your new show, too. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in following your exploits there.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to the next time we talk.
Thanks, Bob. All the best.
Okay, thanks.
Bob Bloomer, of course, the Glutton for Punishment and the Surreal Gourmet, and now it seems a new. What do you think about that, there, Matt? I would love to get my beer served to me from a monkey. A monkey serving my beer would be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. That's the one that definitely got my attention.
I'm not sure about the naked one though. That one I think I'll leave to just watch on TV and not actually experience myself.
Yeah, and the toilet one too. That. I don't know. I don't know if I could get
a little
food.
odd.
Yeah.
Well, you could have your craft dinner served in a
maybe served by a monkey.
If you want more information about Bob Bloomer, you can visit him at bobbloomer.com. And stay tuned. We do have to take a break, but we'll be back with a visit from the Uptown Waterloo BIA, and we'll hear some details of a big chili cook-off that's going to be happening there during the Ice Dogs Festival next weekend. I think that's something that we could all look forward to. I'm Andrew Coppolino. You're listening to 570 News.
This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
And here we are once again, back with The Food Show in our third segment. A lot of fun talking to Bob Bloomer. I just used to love that crazy show, Glutton for Punishment. He just used to do the wildest, most nutso things, rolling down the hill to chase a cheese that had been sent on as in some big competition they had. He had to do these really, really difficult tasks. For one of them, I think, was trying to move individual pieces of rice into a bowl and get as many out of the bowl into another bowl. They would count them up then, one rice grain at a time. And the championship winner was something like, I don't know how many hundreds of pieces of rice in that minute, but they were just going out of flurry. And what's really neat about him is the way he can adapt to all of these challenges very, very quickly and very, very easily. It's very natural for him to just step into a role making pizza or doing some kind of special some kind of special recipe, Japanese tea ceremonies, Chinese tea ceremonies, all kinds of very interesting things. I think if they were going to send a food guy to the moon as an astronaut, I think Bob Bloomer could do it. He has that kind of talent. In 1881, on this day, in 1881, Matt, the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova was born. Now, why her name is important is because there's a very famous dessert that originates either in Australia or New Zealand called the pavlova. It's a meringue that's baked in the oven. And it's a very nice little dessert, and it's called the pavlova. She was born in 1881, so they named that for her. Isn't that interesting?
That is. You're making me hungry now.
Hey, we still haven't got a winner for our book.
No,
we need our third caller for the Canadian Living One Dish Collection. You got to give us the what a gemelli is. It's a pasta, but why is it called gemelli? And I'll give you a hint. Double helix. It's twisted somehow, so maybe that helps give a clue. Third caller in, 570-2545. That's 519-570-2545 or star 570 on your cell, and you can get the new Canadian Living One Dish Collection. What is gemelli? What does it mean as a word? Now, February 18th and 19th is the 9th annual Uptown Waterloo Ice Dogs Festival, and that includes a big chili cook-off. And, of course, here at the Food Show, we're always very, very interested when food is taking place in any kind of an event. And that chili event is taking place at the Chainsaw Pub coming up on Saturday afternoon. Joining me on the line to talk a little bit about all of this activity is the Executive Director of the Uptown Waterloo BIA, Patty Brooks. Patty, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to hear. We haven't heard from Uptown Waterloo's BIA on the show, I don't think, in its 3 or 4 year history, so we're welcoming you here now. It's glad to have you along.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We appreciate the opportunity to talk about the great event coming up this weekend.
Well, first of all, backing up, let's just talk a little bit about what the BIA is, who you are, what you do. Throw those letters around. People may not know what they mean.
Sure. We're actually a not-for-profit organization. We're one of probably 300 BIAs across the province, and our mandate is to promote and beautify the core of our city, and in our case, it's Uptown Waterloo. And I've been the ED there for about 14 years, and it's a happening place, and we have lots of festivals and events and lots of interesting mix of shops and services and retail, and we're going to start with chatting about our first one of the year, which is our Ice Dogs Festival.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn this is 9 years in running, and I bet when you woke up this morning you probably said a small prayer, because it would be nice if there was some real legitimate ice and snow. I don't know what the weather will be like a week from now, but it certainly was nice to see all this great snow. Tell us a little bit about what the Ice Dogs Festival is, and how did it get started? It's an interesting crossover, I guess, between a people and animal event.
Right. Well, 9 years ago, we talked in Uptown Waterloo about the fact that we didn't have a winter event, actually pretty much anywhere in the KW region. Mm-hmm. So we decided to take it on, and then a gentleman who's part of our team now, Roy Reber, thought about putting dogs in the mix, because it's a great way for family to get and enjoy the winter and bring their dogs along, because if you're a family with a dog, you're not likely to want to leave them at home for 3 or 4 hours. So, and it's just as morphed into a really fabulous event. So it's not only people and dogs, it's also amazing ice carvings. And this year we actually have a competition of the ice carvings, which are going to be judged by some celebrity judges. And of course, we have dog sled rides on the sleds are pulled by very large huskies or malamutes, and those are for kids pretty much under 12, because we don't want to put too much pressure on the animals. We have a petting zoo. We have, as you mentioned, the chili cook-off this year, which is new for us, and the ice sculptures are absolutely works of art. I mean, we're a mini winter carnival like we have in Quebec, but they're pretty spectacular. And lots of fun things. The Siskins are coming out to have a little scrum game with the counselors on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning actually, about 11:30, I believe. So lots of fun things happening. The festival itself is sort of centered around Waterloo Public Square, but certainly we morph into the southern and northern part of King Street in Uptown Waterloo.
Let's focus in on the chili then, because we're all about the food. I have a Norwegian elk hound, which is a northern work dog. I'm going to bring him along to view.
Oh, you absolutely have to. You have to, and you're actually judging our chili cook-off.
Well, I am, and I'm looking forward to that. So let's talk about that. What is the chili cook-off? I mean, I'm not, I'm obviously, going to be finding out when I'm actually in the heat of things. But what will the cook-off entail? How does it work? Are there limits to the ingredients? Is there any special rules that the cooks have to follow?
No, there aren't any special rules, actually. We have 8 Uptown eateries that are taking part in the chili cook-off, and you can find out by going to our website who they all are, but they're all eateries that are doing business in the core proper, and they're all going to cook their chili in their own place of business and then bring it over to the Chainsaw. Chainsaw as an organization are hosting the actual event for us. And then our guests, our guests of the Ice Festival, can come and sample the chili for $1 a sample. Mm-hmm. All the proceeds go back to the Ice Dogs Festival and or the KW Humane Society. And, of course, we're going to have judges as well. So there's a People's Choice event, and then there's also the celebrity judging event. And it's everything from sizzling hot chili to mediocre chili to vegetarian chili. There'll be something for everybody if we can get our guests moving off the public square and down toward Chainsaw between 12:30 and 2 o'clock.
What are the competing restaurants?
The restaurants are Bauer Kitchen, Angie's, Uptown 21, Nick and Nat's, Ethel's. Oh, my goodness, you're going to catch me here. The Hoother.
Well, that's good. That gives us a good idea of...
Mullins, yes. Some of our, all these restaurants are huge players in Uptown Waterloo, and they support the majority of the events that we do.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to see the different range of restaurants. When you mentioned the Bauer and Uptown 21 in the same as McMullen's, and I think a whole lot of gelada. That's going to be an interesting one. Someplace that's usually making ice creams and things will be tackling the chili quest as well. So it should be a lot of fun. Can you give us a website where people could go to take a look to get more information about the festival and specifically the chili dogs? Hey, let's call it the chili dog contest.
There'll be some of that too. Sure, it's Ice Dogs Festival, dogs plural, Ice Dogs Festival, Waterloo.com.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time.
We appreciate the opportunity.
That's Patty Brooks. Patty Brooks is the executive director of the Uptown Waterloo BIA. Visit Ice Dogs Festival Waterloo, and I believe it's .ca. I believe she said .com, but it is .ca. Ice Dogs Festival Waterloo.ca. We have that caller.
We do.
Okay,
Doug.
It's Doug. Doug, you're on the line. Is Doug on the line?
Yes, I am.
Hello, Doug. Now, the question was, gemelli, what does it mean? I gave a hint away as a double helix twisted shape. What's your interpretation of that word, gemelli?
It means twins.
In what language?
In Italian.
Very good. Perfect. Just want to make sure we have to do things here quite on the up and up. So you win the One Dish Collection by the Canadian Living Test Kitchen. Brand new book. Retails for about $27. It just came out, I think, just a few days ago in the bookstore at the end of January. So congratulations, Doug. Where are you calling from?
I'm just north of Barrie.
Okay. Are you a home cook? Are you a professional cook? Are you a dabbler?
Just a home cook. I like to cook different types of pasta.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you can envision cooking some gemelli then?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I kind of like it. And the farfalle sometimes, and various ones, spaghetti, whatever.
And did you know what gemelli was, or did you run off to the Google and find out what it was?
To tell you the truth, my girlfriend's Italian.
Oh, there you go.
So I know a couple of them.
Okay. Well, Doug, we'll have the book here for you. The officials at the station here will see to contacting you about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Right.
Enjoy the book.
I will.
Well, there we go. We finally gave that book away, didn't we, Matt? And
we did.
We have to give away some commercial time, though, right now, don't we? Yeah, we have to take a short break.
Pay some bills.
Yeah. But listen, first, before we go, though, next week we're going to have on the show the folks from Kitchener's House of Friendship. They're going to talk about the Soup Idol competition for February's Potato Blitz to help out those less fortunate. So please tune in then and support this good cause. Don't go away. There's more on the Food Show right after these messages. You're listening to 570 News. Hey Matt, you know what you could put in your craft dinner?
Some lobster?
Yeah, lobster mac and cheese, lobster KD and cheese.
Sounds delicious. Yeah, I should try that.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
If you have trouble with the
with actually making the original stuff.
Well, we're back again. As you have heard, Matt and I just going on here a little bit about KD and lobster. But just a few minutes out of town is the nationally known and well-respected Stratford Chefs School. Many of the cooks working in Waterloo Region are graduates of the school, and many of the Stratford Chefs School restaurants, such as Patso, the Old Prune, and Rundle's, are frequented by Waterloo Regionites. Now, on the line now is Kimberly Payne, Executive Director of the Stratford Chef School. Hello, Kim.
Good morning.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well, too. It's great that you could join us. I guess it's snowy and cold in Stratford, as it often is, and it's certainly, we woke up to that this morning. What's the weather like there?
It's cold and snowy.
Yeah, that's this time of the year. That's great, though. It's great to be in a warm restaurant setting or in a warm cooking school, and that's exactly what you've got going on coming up in March, some March break culinary camps. Now, is it a little bit different this year? Is there a new addition that you need to tell us about in terms of...
There is. it's brand new. We decided last year, the last few years, we've always had, great success with the youth program, which are the high school students, grade 9 to 12. But I said to Bob one day, I said, what do the parents do when the students are, in class? And we get a lot of requests for adult classes, a lot. Mm-hmm. And so this year we put in place an adult March break camp. It runs in the evenings. It's from 6 till 9, and it's at the Prune Restaurant in Stratford, and it's taught by chef instructors from the Stratford Chef School. And it's $75 a session, so it's fairly reasonable. Mm-hmm. And it runs from 6 till 9. And it's great fun. I think that people love to cook together, and they love to eat together. And of course, you get to eat what you cook.
Oh, that could be good, it could be bad, but I guess under the proper instruction, it'll always be good, right?
Yeah, and we're doing a North American Italian and Italian classic, and we're doing a Mexican class, we're doing a Chinese class, and of course the Friday class, I'm sure there'll be lots of guys who want to come to that. It's the barbecue class, so cool. It's a great variety of stuff that you can do. So
now, what's happening with the kids part of it? What is their days? How is their day structured? What kind of things will they learn from basics on to more, say, maybe more advanced techniques? However age driven that might be.
Well, because it happens in the restaurants, we run classes both at the Prune Restaurant and at Rundle, so it depends what class they're taking, where they actually will be doing their instruction. But they learn actually what it's like to work in an actual kitchen. So a lot of people have never actually been inside a commercial kitchen, and the idea is to really expose them to, what that environment is looking like, because of course we'd like to get these, if they're really interested, into the school someday as a student. But they learn really good safety and sanitation skills. And so this is if you got kids going off to university, this would be a great course for them to take, because it's food safety handling, really good knife skills, some very basic understandings around, building a sauce and building your flavorings and things like that. So it's a very basic, firm foundation for things that people want to do, and we do it within the realm of a region. So it could be Chinese food or Mexican food. So you're always learning really good knife skills. You're learning how to move safely in a kitchen, so there's lots of safety around it. And we provide all the equipment, all the knives and everything. All they have to do is bring themselves.
That's March 12th, 16th. The adult version of the camp runs 6 to 9 p.m. and the students go 12 to 4. Now, you got a thing called the Best of the West program, and it's going to be featuring a chef that I think a lot of people who watch Food Network television are going to recognize. We have about a minute or so left. If you could just give us the lowdown on what the Best of the West program is.
Well, the school this year, or the past couple of years, we've decided that to define regional cuisine in Canada, we needed to actually look at the cuisines where the regions were different or defined by maybe terroir. And so this year we focused on Best of the West. So British Columbia, Alberta, and Manitoba, and although they are very different terroirs as a group, they still are very different from Ontario. So we have featured, James Walt from British Columbia and Ross Derrick, and upcoming we have Lorna Murdoch, and who you alluded to was actually Connie D'Souza, who placed third in Top Chef Canada last year, and she's coming for 2 days. And they actually bring many of their own proteins with them, so their duck and their lamb and their fish and their elk, because a duck will taste different from Ontario than it will from Alberta, because it's raised in different grains. So it's really an opportunity for our students and our diners to experience the terroir of that region. So
diners will be able to book a seat at one of these dinners?
Come to dinner every night, Monday to Friday, from now until March the 1st. There are still some seats left, not a lot, I will say. There are not a lot left, and on one night for Connie D'Souza, it's actually Women in Food, and that one night is sold out, which is March the 1st. And we have a very long wait list for that. So
okay, well, just to call out, graduate Carl Heinrich has made it to the Top Chef of Canada for season number 2. That's great.
Very excited. He's from Marvin in Toronto.
Great. Why don't you give us the location, website, and people can come and check in and get in contact with you if they can make any of these March break camps or the Best of the West program.
They can come to our website, www.stratfordchef.com. All the information is listed there, or they can call the office at 271-1414, area code 519, and we'd be happy to talk to them.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Kimberly.
Thanks, Andrew.
Kimberly Payne is Executive Director of the Stratford Chefs School. Visit stratfordchef.com. Well, that's it for the show this week, Matt. Gotta go. Thanks to Bob Bloomer, Patty Brooks of Uptown Waterloo BIA, and Kimberly Payne of the Stratford Chef School. Thanks also to our studio personnel here at 570 News, Internet producers Jordan Carbone, and studio operator Matt Carey. Visit 570news.com for an archive of past shows, and follow the Food Show at twitter.com, 570 Food Show. Read my column in the Kitchener Post each and every Friday. Join us again next week, and we'll get some Spud insight into the February potato blitz for House of Friendship. Remember, eat wisely and eat well, Matt. Thank you for joining us here at the Food Show, only on 570 News.